Gen Z has basically been the butt of every joke for years. We were written off by most people in politics, especially on the political right here in America, except for one person, and that was Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk never gave up on Gen Z, and we are witnessing the impacts of that right now. So the thing that has given me the most hope in the wake of Charlie Kirk's brutal assassination last week has been seeing the response from young people. And obviously, if you have spent any time on social media over the last week, obviously there have been incredibly vile remarks from people in the mainstream media, from young people on TikTok, on X, on Threads, you name it, Reddit. It has been disgusting. And instead, I want to focus on something that has given me a lot of hope. And that has been the response from good, moral young people around the country. Young people who, in a sense, have been awakened and roused by Charlie's death. And I want to share some of those videos with you because as I've been scrolling on social media, nap-trapped with my newborn, trying to make sense of everything that has gone on over the last 7 days, these are the videos that have inspired me and made me think, okay, not all hope is lost. For example, these are high school students in Washington State. These are high school students on a school night celebrating Charlie Kirk and his legacy. And the cars are honking in support. These are all young people, all high schoolers. They're out with candles, they are out with signs, posters, and this has been across the country. I saw a few in California, like in Orange County, Huntington Beach area. There was a huge demonstration in Beverly Hills that was not just young people, but there were families there. And again, they have just been everywhere. This one is actually on the campus of University of Tennessee, Knoxville, Go Vols. And the thing that stood out to me the most about so many of these videos is that they were not organized by the schools. These were not organized by TPUSA chapters, even though there have been vigils that have been organized by TPUSA. They are not organized by Young Republicans or the GOP. These are just young people who were so impacted by Charlie and what he did, the way that he brought people together, the way that he spoke to young people, his activism. They were impacted by him and they came together to celebrate that, all on their own volition, which was so incredible. I want to take a quick break to tell you about today's sponsor. Guys, when your family grows, you start to look at your home differently. And I know this from very recent experience because suddenly your spare room has a crib and the kitchen feels smaller and storage space immediately feels non-existent no matter how many closets you have. But in this economy, you probably think that you're stuck. And that is where Fellowship Home Loans comes into play. Mike and Brian, the owners, are the people you call when you need a plan and a strategy, whether that is buying something bigger, refinancing to free up cash, or tapping into your home's equity for improvements. They make it easy. No pressure, just creative solutions like low down payments, seller concessions, and temporary rate buydowns that you won't hear about on social media. And if you already own your home, refinancing might give you the breathing room to add a bedroom or finish the basement for extra storage or finally build that deck for family cookouts. And yes, in some cases, you can even skip 2 mortgage payments when you refinance. That is more cash in your pocket when you need it most. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Brett to start and get a $500 credit at closing. Terms apply. See site for details. Disclaimer, Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382. Here is a photo from the candlelight vigil for Charlie Kirk at Texas A&M. I cannot even count how many people were there. And you're also seeing things like this was at Auburn, I believe, at one of their tailgates last week for college football. Long live Charlie Kirk. And it was a fraternity that put up this sign. Here we have another one. This is at Ole Miss, and some students hung out the sign, "Pray for the Kirks." Again, completely on their own volition. Nobody's telling them to do this, but that is how impacted they were by Charlie and his work. It has been so prevalent on social media that I feel like it has completely, at least for me, washed away the hate and the vitriol that I have seen that was so prevalent, especially in the 24 hours in the aftermath. But it has become so widespread that even the New York Times had to take note. And this is the video that they uploaded about Charlie Kirk's young fans. Just take a watch.
He actually played a big role in how I thought about politics and how I put politics and God together. One day I was scrolling on TikTok. It was probably like 2020, and I found him, and I really just loved what he was saying.
I was so heartbroken. I bet. When they told me Charlie was dead. Just because somebody says something you don't like doesn't mean you get to kill people. He didn't deserve it. I am 10 years old, and how I learned about Charlie Kirk was he did these really great shows. And one of the most important things that he said is, I love God, I love my family, and I love my country.
I just have to pause there because I think it's pretty incredible that a 10-year-old has more of a moral compass and empathy than a lot of people online, obviously, based on what we've seen over the last 7 days. But that just because somebody says something you don't agree with or that you don't like doesn't mean you just get to go kill people. It seems obvious that a 10-year-old would be able to articulate that and understand that, but in the world that we live in, with everything that we have seen online, the disgusting people celebrating Charlie's assassination, it has become abundantly clear that we do not live in a very sane world. There are people that share our air who do not agree with that statement, and that is why it is so impressive that a 10-year-old is able to share that, especially in the socio-political climate that we're living in.
It's kind of said what we were all thinking. Just that traditional families that's just how families are supposed to be done. That's what resonated with a lot of us.
I'm not really big on politics. I was a little bit more in between and just kept the peace and didn't speak my mind. Honestly, going forward, this makes me more empowered to feel a little bit more conservative and speak my mind, honestly, because I'm just so sick of it.
It feels we're on the brink of something that's a little bit scary, but a little bit revolutionary.
I think it's so incredible that that young woman said that, you know, Charlie's death, the impact on her is that it's going to encourage her to be more outspoken and more conservative, because at the end of the day, that is what Charlie wanted. Obviously, he hoped that people would find God and that they would be conservative, that they would love traditional values, but he also just wanted young people not to be silent. He wanted them to get involved. He wanted them to wrestle with big ideas and debate and seek to understand each other. He had this idea of a world that was based on civil discourse and understanding. He wanted young people to live happy and healthy and full lives. He was concerned about our economy and the things that Gen Z and Gen Alpha will be facing. He was concerned about the fact that we can't buy homes, that young people are not getting married because they are scared about the economy, that they are scared about, world wars. He listened to young people. His fight was not one-sided. He had a holistic view of how he thought Gen Z should thrive based on what people in my generation were actually saying to him, what he was actually seeing on college campuses. And so, the comments on this New York Times video were obviously disgraceful. People were not happy to see the New York Times publish something that was as unbiased as this was, that was genuinely kind and sweet without a, snide remark in the video. And I'm really glad they posted it. And I think it probably forced some people in their audience to reconcile with what Charlie meant to young people if they actually took the 3 minutes to watch the video in its entirety, which, granted, based on the comments, I'm guessing they did not. But everything that you saw there in that video, the vigils from across the country, that is why people feared Charlie so much. But obviously, they didn't just fear him, they hated him. Millions of people hated him with a burning passion because of the things we just talked about, his hateful beliefs, the lies that they saw online, the clips that were taken out of context. And I just want to say, if you are somebody that's watching this video and you have fallen in that camp, first of all, I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're watching. I'm glad we're talking. But if you are somebody who wants to understand Charlie better and understand his beliefs better and maybe see everything within the full scope of what he was trying to convey, I would highly encourage you to go watch my friend Amir Odom's video. He did an incredible video. It is getting millions of views on YouTube and on X. It was so well put together. He basically debunks everything about Charlie, and Amir is one of my best friends. He is a Black gay conservative, so he's coming at it from that perspective. It's very humble. It's very insightful. But back to the point that I was making, so many people did hate Charlie, but they really were terrified of him because of the influence that we have been talking about. And it isn't just, shown in TikToks and tweets and vigils. The data backs all of this up. In fact, I have an article pulled up here. According to a national survey done by TikTok, the platform's users under 30 who voted for Trump trusted Kirk more than any other individual. Young Republicans, young independents, people who were, wanting to walk away from the left, they were listening to Charlie. He was the voice of this generation of this political faction. I mean, this was obviously evident in the 2024 election with how many young people came over for Trump that had not been seen for a Republican ever before, but it is even more evident when you see this visual of how college campuses shifted politically in 2024. This is insane. If you have lost hope in the American political system, if you have ever doubted Gen Z, I am excited to show you this because almost every single college campus that they surveyed shifted to the right. Young voters on college campuses shifted towards Trump. Look at these arrows. This is where the GOP gained. I think I only see one arrow that's moving towards the left. Basically every single college campus moved towards the right. And I would stake my life on saying that Charlie Kirk was a significant motivating factor in this. Not just because of his viral videos and his presence on social media, but the fact that he was actually there. He showed up to those campuses. He debated in good faith. He had conversations that lasted longer than 30-second TikToks. He sought to understand, and therefore he was able to change people's minds. But guys, it wasn't just on American soil. This is also something I'm so excited to show you. Charlie's influence was global. And again, I know that there has been a lot of disgusting bitterness and vitriol, just absolutely asinine posts over the last 7 days, but I hope you have also seen videos like this. It is genuinely remarkable. In fact, as I was sitting down to film this video, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw posters from an event that is being held in Peru. And the comments as I was going through and clicking, the Instagram translate button, there were so many young people saying, "Thank you, Charlie. Your impact was so widespread. This was a good man. He sought to understand. He sought to spread the gospel. Like, this was an incredible person. We're so excited to celebrate him." I mean, guys, this is a global influence. And I kind of want to jump into something that is happening in the world right now, because I know we're spending a lot of time talking about Charlie, and we should be, because again, his influence was unmatched. But I also think Charlie would want us to continue talking about current events and continue the fight moving forward. And I know people are starting to do that, but all of this made me think of something that has been going on in the last couple of weeks in Nepal, because Gen Zers in Nepal just successfully overthrew their communist government in a, albeit very violent, revolution. Gen Z just overthrew a communist government. We'll get back into the story in just a second, but first, I want to take a quick break to tell you about today's sponsor. So like most of you, I thought I knew what I was buying at the grocery store until I learned that over 4 billion pounds of meat were imported into the US last year and were still labeled product of the USA. That is where Good Ranchers comes in. All of their meat is 100% American, raised on local farms and delivered right to your door through their subscription service. This process is simple, it's hassle-free, and the quality is incredible. But best of all, you can rest easy knowing that you are buying from real American family farms, and your subscription and purchase helps them stay in business while big companies continue to buy from overseas. So start shopping American meat you can trust and visit goodranchers.com. Use my code BRETT today and you will get $40 off plus free meat for life. That is code BRETT, $40 off plus free meat for life when you start a new subscription today. Now guys, if there is one thing that I could recommend to anyone who is pregnant, who knows a pregnant woman that just wants to be comfortable, it would be Cozy Earth's pajamas. Guys, I lived in mine for the last 9 months. I am not exaggerating, every single night. They are so soft and breathable, and my obsession even convinced Alex that he needs a pair of his own. Cozy Earth's signature bamboo stretch fabric is unbelievably comfortable, and it actually sleeps cooler than cotton, which is very important when you live in the South and it is so humid. But when I'm ready to warm up, that is when I reach for Cozy Earth's bubble cuddle blanket, which basically lives on my couch. Whether I am napping, working, or scrolling on X to find the best stories for you, you can usually find me wrapped up in this blanket or in their pajamas or in one of their basic white tees that has become another wardrobe staple. I know that you guys will love these products, and Cozy Earth truly stands by their quality. Their blankets come with a 100-night sleep trial and a 10-year warranty, and the apparel is backed by a lifetime guarantee. So if you're ready to up your comfort this fall, head on over to CozyEarth.com and use code BRETT at checkout for up to 40% off your new favorite pajama set and blankets. Again, that's CozyEarth.com, code BRETT. Elevate your downtime with Cozy Earth. And I'm not here to say that Charlie was the cause of this or had any role in this. I have actually not seen any posts linking him to this whatsoever. This Nepal story was kind of brushed under the rug, obviously, in the wake of Charlie's assassination. But I do think that this story is relevant considering how much has changed in Gen Z, how much Gen Z has been awakened over the last couple of years. And if you have not followed this story, basically, it starts with Nepal's prime minister, whose name is KP Sharma Oli, who had been serving since 2018 and was the chairman of Nepal's Communist Party, which I believe was founded in 2014. So he's been the prime minister for 4 terms since 2018. And under his governance, Nepal has absolutely crumbled. The economic gap has widened. A fourth of the country allegedly has fled because they could not survive in Nepal. The average income was $1,400 a month, I believe. It might be less than that, so you can fact check me, but I believe that that is what I saw. I have that written down. So economically, Nepalis were struggling. Meanwhile, the political communist elites were living lavishly, and of course were preaching about equality. They were saying, yes, we are, Marxists, we are socialist communists, and we are here to help everyone live an equal life. We are spreading equity. Everything we are doing is for your benefit, even though you are living in poverty. And, us and our families were living lavish lives in these huge, mansions and castles right next door to you. Now, simultaneously, while all of this was happening, the United States, through USAID, was sending Nepal money. We had committed $900 million over the last 5 years, I believe, and we were sending this money to the political elites in Nepal to help spread democracy. However, based on recent reports, it looks like that didn't actually happen, and what we were doing with our American tax dollars was simply lining the pockets of these communist elites. Obviously, the people of Nepal were fed up, they were angry, especially Gen Z. And so Gen Z did what Gen Z does best, and they took to social media. They went on TikTok and they started a trend called the Nepo baby trend, where basically they would talk about the communist Nepo babies of the communist politicians in Gen Z, and they used TikTok and this trend to demonstrate the drastic differences between the lives of these children and the lives of normal, regular Nepalis. Just watch one of these videos. And we're going to have to cut the sound on this due to copyright, but behind this video is The Winner Takes It All by ABBA. And all of this started about a month ago, I believe. So this was really ramping up over the last couple of weeks. Here's another example of this. Again, just contrasting the lives. Now these videos went mega viral and TikTok just blew up. The conversation kept getting louder and bigger. It was spreading around the world. It was not just limited to Nepal, and the government was furious. They saw that unrest was stirring in their country. They saw how angry Gen Z was, and so they did what communists like to do, and they asserted more authority. They thought, oh, okay, I know how we can stop Gen Z. We will ban social media. It's almost laughable that they thought that would work. So they did it. In one full swoop, they banned 26 apps in total. And they claimed that it was because these apps were not following Nepal's rules for registering with the government and paying some sort of digital tax. But really, because an uprising was brewing, because Gen Z had realized that their government was not working for them. Now, in response to this digital iron curtain being slammed down, Gen Z unleashed, and they started a revolution that completely toppled the Nepal government in 48 hours. Guys, 48 hours. Gen Z toppled a communist government. Here are some photos from this. #WakeUpNepal. Unmute our voice. The time is now. Wake up Nepal. Again, all young people. This is an incredible video that people have been sharing. Here they are, even tearing down the hammer and sickle flag at the Communist Party of Nepal headquarters. I mean, that is an image for the ages. I know that Gen Z laughs about this and we say, we're tired of living through these massive historical events, but that's really what's happening. I mean, these are things that are going to be written about in textbooks. Gen Z is now taking life and politics and government by the horns, literally ripping down communist flags. Gen Z was able to do all of this. They were able to organize through the use of VPNs and different secure messaging channels. And within a day, within 24 hours, they had all organized on Discord and they had voted in a new prime minister. I believe that 100,000 people had joined this Discord. They had a lineup of different people. They voted in a woman. The military has now even had to recognize this vote. They have recognized the revolution and they are standing with the Gen Z revolutionaries. Now, obviously, this was not peaceful in the slightest. A lot of people are very angry about this. A lot of people believe that this has actually just set Nepal back hundreds of years. And granted, due to the infrastructure that has been destroyed, I am sure that that is true. Many have died. Hundreds have been injured, I believe. Thousands of prisoners were emptied into the streets when the prisons were burned. It has been chaotic and bloody, as all revolutions in history have been, but it paints an important picture, and that is why I am sharing it with you, because Gen Z is unlike the other generations that are living right now. It might be completely unlike any other generation that we have ever experienced purely because of the way that we were raised and the digital world that we are living in. And around the world, whether it is in Peru or Nepal or Germany or New Zealand, wherever we are seeing these vigils, these protests, these celebrations of Charlie, Gen Z is waking up. Gen Z is fighting back against the status quo. Gen Z is becoming bolder and more courageous. And especially here in America, I do believe that Charlie's assassination has roused something even deeper, something that is far more spiritual. We are seeing that in the young people that are flooding churches around the country, who are saying, I'm coming here for Charlie. I've never gone to church before. I haven't been to church since I would go with my parents, but I am showing up here today because it is so important and because it is what Charlie Kirk would have wanted. And this is so important to me because, again, for years, people have overlooked my generation. We have been mocked and laughed at. We have been waved off, especially by conservatives, especially by the political right. People said there's no hope with Gen Z. Let's just move on to the next generation. Gen Alpha seems kind of crazy, but maybe we can rely on them. Gen Z is too far gone. We cannot rely on them. And granted, there were a lot of things to critique. I have been one to critique Gen Z. I actually have a full maternity leave episode that is talking about some of the psychological issues that Gen Z is going through right now. I think that there are important things to critique, but I've never believed that hope has been lost with Gen Z, even when so many people did. And Charlie Kirk never wrote us off. He never faltered in that. He consistently fought for us. He fought for us. He fought with us. He fought to help young people find courage, no matter where they were in their lives, whether they were high school students, college students, young people who were coming to work for him, starting their careers. He fought to help people cross the aisle and seek understanding and have civil discourse and break through the anger and the vitriol and the bitterness that held so many of us apart when we disagreed with others. And above all, in my opinion, he encouraged Gen Z to seek moral goodness, to be good people, to create good lives, to live empowered lives that were fulfilling, to find God and start families and fall in love and do something meaningful with your life. Because that is goodness and that will bring you fulfillment and joy. That, above all else, is what Charlie was advocating for. And clearly, based on everything that I am seeing on social media as I am up at 3 a.m., nursing a baby, scrolling online, clearly, Charlie was successful. And that is something that will always be worth celebrating. Talk to you guys next time.
If you made it all the way to the end of this episode, thank you so much for watching. I had so much fun putting it together, and I hope that you enjoyed it too. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button because this channel only exists because of you. And if you're in the mood for more, I've got even more episodes right here that I think you'll love.